The FNCS Second Chance Qualifier is over. We now know the final 8 duos that have qualified for next month's Summit LAN, and MrSavage and Velo have officially made it. I'll discuss their performance, I'll break down all the other duos that qualified. We've got that to talk about and a lot more. Let's get straight into it. So if you need a reminder on why we have the Second Chance Qualifier in the first place, then I have a great video discussing it, but I'll explain it for you briefly now. Essentially, there was a situation where some pros were disqualified. Fortnite then decided that these disqualifications were a mistake. Unfortunately, it was too far along in the grand finals for them to be reinstated, so they added this new round as compensation, which has meant that we've been able to see 8 new EU duos make it, and of course MrSavage and Velo did succeed. They came 4th on the day. It was the top 8 in a lobby of 50 duos, and honestly I thought they just looked brilliant throughout. In 5 out of 6 games they finished inside the top 10. Their consistency was super impressive. I want to give a particular shout out to Velo because his solo clutches were remarkable. Potentially without this crazy performance we may not have seen them qualify. Interestingly, Velo has made his first ever LAN before he's even qualified for a grand finals, which is a pretty crazy stat. Velo's rise since globals ended has been genuinely incredible. He's gone from someone that was super underrated, earning in like every victory cup, playing with King Cringe, playing NA Central with Scroll, and now the whole community knows his name. He's going to a LAN with MrSavage. What a story this is. I will keep on saying it in practically every video. I do think Velo is the perfect duo for MrSavage because he is a support player. He can frag out and he can follow and listen to Savage, which allows Savage to lead in the way that he thinks is best, and honestly that dynamic seems to be working super well. Now Velo did tweet that they're landing at Squibbly Shores for the lower bracket, coached by Fredoxy. If you don't quite know how the bracket system works, then let me quickly explain it for you. Day 1 of the Summit LAN will be the original 50 teams that qualified through grand finals. Those duos will play 6 games. The top 25 will qualify straight to day 3. The bottom 25 will have to play the lower bracket on day 2, and this is where the extra 25 duos that qualified through the Second Chance Qualifier come in. So in other words, MrSavage and Velo will only have one opportunity to qualify for the grand finals at the LAN, compared to a lot of other teams that will have 2. Now I will discuss the maps a bit later. Obviously they could change a lot in the meantime, but for now let's talk about all the other duos that did qualify. In the first place we had Akiira and Kurama, and these guys absolutely dominated the lobby. They won 3 games in a row at one point. I mean, it never looks like it was in doubt. They were landing over at North Battlewood Boulevard and they were being coached by our FNCS champions Sky and Scroll, so it definitely felt like it was on the cards that they were going to make it. They are such a top duo. It was a very uncharacteristic performance from them in the FNCS Grand Finals, where they finished in 39th place, nowhere near the top 20 required to make the Summit LAN. But listen, they have turned it around. They proved that that Grand Finals was just a one-off. They are a team with such a lot of quality, and we will be seeing them in Düsseldorf. And this is also great news for M8 fans, because previously Marius was the only Gentlemates representative at this LAN. Now they've got a full French duo as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing the same level of support in Düsseldorf that we had in Lyon. Now in second place, and also securing their LAN qualification, was Pixx and Ghost. Now this is a completely new duo. Previously we had Pixx and Merstach, and they obviously didn't even make the FNCS heats. A very disappointing showing from them, whilst Tayson and Ghost did make heats but weren't able to make it out. And listen, I'm very excited by these guys. Pixx is obviously someone who is a very capable leader. We saw that when he was playing with Dom and Dimash last year, whilst Ghost is a very young up and coming fragger, someone with crazy potential. Yes, he's still on high ping. He plays on about 50 ping because he's from Greece, but he is someone with bags of potential, and it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do on the LAN stage when everyone has the same ping. And fair play to these guys for gelling so quickly. We had a very short turnaround between the announcement of the Second Chance Qualifier and the actual finals, so to get that good in such a short amount of time, big credit to them. We had a bunch of other French duos qualify. It felt like before we had hardly any French players at the LAN, and now we have an absolute ton of them. We had Skyjump and Mumsy qualify, as did the completely new duo of Podesite and Sato. Previously we had Podesite and Asa, which was actually a duo that I quite liked. Asa is now with Rax for the rest of the year, but they weren't able to qualify. Pink was previously with Sato. He did play the Second Chance Qualifier Opens with Uppal. They didn't get through, so I'm not sure if they are going to stick. But anyway, Podesite and Sato, a properly interesting duo. Sato had a great individual performance. He had the most damage, the best damage ratio, very good stuff from him. We did also have one other French duo qualify, and that was Izzy and Nosif, and these guys are very underrated. It does feel like they've had a little bit of a tough month, but before then they were both doing great, and I'm glad to see that they will be at their first ever LAN. Nosif also had the highest number of eliminations with 17. He was joint for that with Zynox, so big credit credit to him. We also had Belusi and Zangi make it, the Italian duo, and Vidil and Ju. This is another completely new team. Previously, Vidil was playing with Vampy, and I have to say, I thought they were looking really good. They managed 2 second places in their heat, so they were so close to securing qualification then, but we will be officially seeing Vidil in Dusseldorf. So here's a first look at the drop map for the upper bracket of the Summit LAN. Now, of course, this is going to massively change between now and May the 29th, so no teams can be getting comfortable as of yet. As you can see, some of the swarm fights that we were expecting are visible. We've got Pixx and Higgs against Sharkantini. Will be very interesting to see how that goes. We've also got Chino and Pablo Wingu contested by 2 teams over at Sandy Strip, and the mid-map area is looking pretty busy too. Cringe and Volker are contested, as are Swizzy and Pixie by Cold and Rapid, and then we've got 2 EU teams landing on each other at the split east of Wonkyland, which is kind of interesting. Eyedrop and Marius and Chap and Flixie. I do wonder if Chap and Flixie would just land on the mountain, because surely contesting that is way better than contesting this split would make a lot of sense. And here's the current map for the lower bracket. For obvious reasons, we only have half of the teams marked, and we won't find out what that map fully looks like until after day 1 of the LAN. Now, of course, not every big duo made it through the second chance qualifiers. Perhaps the most notable team that didn't qualify was Vanyak and Merstach, and it really did not go well for these guys on the day. They ended up finishing in 35th place, just nowhere near the top 8 required to qualify. Definitely a blow. I'm sure a lot of Gentlemates fans would have been very happy to see them on LAN. Of course, Merstach is the reigning global champion. Vanyak came second as well, so 2 top quality players missing out, but it does have to be said, neither of them have been in great form for the past few months, and honestly, it's not something that shocked me at all. Let's not forget that these guys did try playing together a few months ago, and they didn't have much success, so to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting a huge amount from them in this round. Merstach is now looking for a duo, so we'll have to see who he picks up. Both of these players are far too good to be having these kind of performances. They just need to find the right teammate, and I'm sure we will see them back at the very top. Here's a list of some of the other big names that made the SCQ finals but were not able to qualify for the top 8. As you can see, we've got Pixowski and Seren, the Polish duo. These guys did struggle a little bit in the FNCS Grand Finals, being contested by Sayaz and Scary Sean, and then they were kind of forced out of their drop spot, had to find a bunch of places to land on. They were the ones that ended up landing on Akiira and Kurama and kind of derailed their tournament a little bit. Unfortunately, they have now split, which I have to say has surprised me a bit, because they were looking really good this year. They've made 7 out of the 8 Divisional Cup finals. They made a Reload Elite Series finals too, so they have been looking good. Definitely a bit of a shame. Moneymaker and Fanayan also failed to make it. They had a very slow start, but they did have a strong finish. Unfortunately, not quite enough. It was a similar story with Khan and Faded Pigeon. A bad first 2 games was what ended up costing them. It all ended up going wrong for Truly and Gonzo too. In the FNCS Grand Finals, they had an excellent day 1. They dominated against Swizzy and Pixie off spawn at Dark Dominion, and they were inside the top 20 range for the Summit LAN. And then on day 2, they came 49th place for the day. They just really struggled. It was a complete Jekyll and Hyde performance. They weren't getting wins off spawn, but ultimately it feels like they haven't really recovered from that performance, and it did kind of carry over into these finals. Howley and Lucia didn't make it, neither did Sined and Giras, the only EU team that actually did get disqualified for the Sluggergate incident. For Strokey and Kiro won't be there, neither will Ping and Wox, obviously a very good duo, one that haven't played together for a while. They did excellently at Globals 2024, and they have recently got back together, but they were contested at Latte Landing, so very difficult for them. Whether they stick from now does remain to be seen. Prism and Casper also unable to make it. They're a team that nearer the start of the year were in some good form, but over the past month or so they have dropped off a little bit. And for any Sharkantini fans watching, Hutty and Fishix didn't even make it through the top 50 to get to yesterday's final, so they will not be at the Summit LAN, which means that Sharkantini will only be contested at Wonkyland by Clicks and Higgs. Now, the deadline for organisation signings before the Esports World Cup is today, so we could be potentially seeing some big announcements. Here's all the ones we've had so far. We've had Sky and Scroll sign for the Chinese organisation All Gamers. They got bought out of their contracts at Atlantic. Yapko and Panzer have joined GK Esports. Chap and Flixie have signed for Godlike, an Indian org. We also had Soul, another Indian organisation, pick up Khan and Faded Pigeon, who of course made it to the LAN in Saudi Arabia through the most recent qualifier. We had Trulex and Chicho getting signed for Ninjas in Pyjamas. This is definitely an interesting one because they haven't qualified for the Reload Elite Series. I mean, they haven't really qualified for anything lately. Their placements have been pretty poor, so an interesting pickup from Ninjas in Pyjamas, let's just say that. And finally, we had the news that Havoc and Vitality have formed a partnership. That's right, the Havok players will be playing under the Vitality name at the Esports World Cup, and this has meant that Swizzy is now officially a Havok player, a Vitality player, whatever you want to call it. Queasy, who was previously signed to Vitality, has left, so he won't be representing Havok. There could potentially be even more org announcements, so look out for that, but it's nice to see that all the players that qualified for the Esports World Cup are being rewarded with big contracts. Great to see that there's still a lot of money in the Fortnite space. We also have the news that the reigning NA Central FNCS champion Veno has come back to his home region. He will be playing the Esports World Cup qualifiers in EU. He's boot camping with Curve, so it should be interesting to see how they get on. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.